I then also just want to talk a little bit about the comments made by the president last week, in which he said, oh, well, if we can't get our way in municipalities, we're just going to collapse them and have reruns. Now, this is odd because it comes sort of a week after the president stood at the IEC and told parties that we must work together so that we can focus on serving the people and service delivery. Now, collapsing municipalities does not serve that purpose. And frankly, it's not as easy as the president would like South Africans to believe. And I imagine they're using this as a bit of a stick to try and pressure people into their corral. But if one reads Schedule 3 of the Municipal Structures Act with Section 30, it's clear that when coalitions can't be formed, that the legislation itself envisages minority governments. And the only way that a council can be forced to rerun immediately is if the majority of councillors do not attend the first council meeting. Now, it's important to remember when you read that councillors not attending that first council meeting, that you read that together with the recent court judgments that the DA secured in Tshwane, where the court made it very, very clear that councillors should not boycott meetings with the simple determination to boycott a council or to collapse that particular council or its processes. And so the court has already sent a very clear warning to councillors who play with service delivery against their political objectives. Those councils should be allowed to meet and they must be able to be formulated. If a majority of councillors then attend that elective meeting, it will inevitably result in the election of mayors and speakers in terms of Schedule 3. Now, this, of course, doesn't mean it's going to be a stable government. But obviously, the first obligation which governments, councils that are elected this way may fail to comply with is the budget, which is only due in July next year. So the big risk in the meantime for those minority governments will obviously be motions of no confidence by other parties who are trying to muscle in or disrupt the program. Then in terms of the metros, and I know this is the one that everyone's watching, and obviously the numbers there and the results have thrown up a huge number of very highly complex configurations of parties. And it is proving quite a challenge to bring people together around a common set of values and principles to form those coalitions. But we've been heartened. There have been a number of talks. We've had bilateral engagements with Action SA, the Freedom Front, as well as the ACDP up there. We had a meeting yesterday of party leaders that included the Freedom Front, the IFP, the UDM, the ACDP, Action SA, and the Patriotic Alliance. And I'm sure that I will deal with a little bit more about the outcomes of that yesterday. But the meeting essentially ended with us agreeing to go back and have a look at what is possible in the metros and to continue the engagement ahead of trying to be able to form a key government there. Now, it's very important as well that I stress to you that the DA is not a one-man or one-woman show. We're a party of due process and a party of process within the organisation. And that's what every step of the way the Federal Executive negotiating team has reported back to the FedEx. And the FedEx gave us some very, very, very clear guidance over the course of our last Federal Executive meeting around how we should be proceeding on behalf of the DA in these meetings. And those key principles around making sure that we do not go into any governing coalition, any power sharing, any sharing of executive power with either the EFF or the ANC within those councils.